What up, friends? Geoff Fienberg here with you. Wednesday night edition of the Geoff Fienberg Show on FTNDaily.com, presented by PrizePicks. I'll have my three-entry power play over at PrizePicks for you in just a moment. PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN, 100% instant match bonus, up to $100 on your first deposit. It's you versus the projection at PrizePicks. Looking forward to chatting tonight with Ryan Noonan. He's on the team at FTN. Truth be told, I probably should have started chatting with Ryan much earlier because he's someone who I could simultaneously chat football and golf with. So someone right in my lane. Looking forward to chatting with him tonight. NFL draft next week. I am super hyped up for it. I love the NFL draft. It is a special occasion for me. It's like this Jew's Christmas. I like getting presents. I think I'm going to get a present, 13th overall. But I don't think I'm getting socks. I don't think I'm getting a bike or a new console. I think I'm getting a pair of socks and a new pair of underwear, as I expect the Chargers to go left tackle. But I'll bring that up with Ryan. But more interesting things going to happen in that draft well before the Chargers are on the clock. And that is certainly what I'm looking forward to chatting with Ryan, as well as getting his take on the Zurich Classic. This week, I will give you my outright selections for the Zurich in just a moment. But before we get there, as I mentioned, PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN gets you 100% instant match bonus up to $100. I have made a three-entry power play for tomorrow over at PrizePicks.com, and they have already changed a number in my favor for tomorrow. But my three-entry power play, we got Tony Finau and Team Finau and Champ to shoot under 66. Hovland and Ventura to shoot brackets at 66 and a half, 67 now over at PrizePicks.com. And Justin Rose, Henrik Stenson, I've got them shooting over 65 and a half. They are one of a couple of teams that I'll probably end up looking stupid. I'm good at that. But Rose and Stenson, a team I'm looking to fade. PrizePicks.com. I will be checking that out throughout the Zurich Classic because I'm hyper interested to see how they'll price it tomorrow. On Friday with the alternate shot. I believe that's a bit of an interesting element, certainly where things can get incredibly volatile. So I'm just hyper curious how they're going to price their projections for alternate shot and through the weekend at the Zurich Classic and all weekend. I can make multi-sport tickets, UFC, NBA, NHL, MLB, all that fun stuff over at PrizePicks.com. I actually have a bet on the Blue Jays on the go right now, plus 118 versus the Boston Red Sox. I took a first five and a full game. Happy to cash that first five. It was a bit of a sweat as the Jays led by 2 with Xander Bogaerts up with the bases loaded, but got that one, and now hopefully we can cash the full game. Disclaimer, I bet the Jays yesterday and lost, so I'm just trying to get my money back, and with a little plus money tonight, I will try and do that. Zurich Classic, I'll be breaking it down with Ryan Noonan from FTN in a few minutes, but I'm just really excited it's draft season. I'll probably be hyper-focused on the draft with Ryan. I'll get his Zurich thoughts. I'll get his favorite outrights, or I assume his favorite outrights would be the outrights that he has made or any other action that he is looking at for the Zurich. But for me, I have 5 outright picks for the Zurich Classic. I bet Max Homa, Taylor Gooch, 33-1, Varner and Grace at 35-1. What else did I bet? Hovland and Ventura at 45-1 is the bet that I have made on that one. Peters and Lewis, certainly I believe a very underrated team coming into this week at 55-1. And I was lucky enough to get one of those early numbers on EVR and Clark. I picked them up at 90-1, down to 60. I still don't mind it at 60. I was intrigued at 60. I'll be honest, at DraftKings Sportsbook, I don't even have access to it where I live. I'm here in Canada. We cannot bet at DraftKings Sportsbook, so I had to slide into someone's DMs and have them make a wager for me at DraftKings Sportsbook, where they had that 90-1 on Clark and EVR. So those are the bets I also got a couple head-to-heads. I've got Finau and Champ over the team of Burns and Horschel. I'll be interested to get Ryan's take on that team this week. It seems like people either are into them or want to fade them. I guess that kind of makes sense because so many people appear to be into them. The other option is to just fade them. And as I mentioned already with my prize pick suggestion, I'm taking the team of Peters and Lewis to defeat Stenson and Rose. Yeah, I'll fade Stenson and Rose probably throughout the week. Probably not throughout the weekend because I'm not expecting them to be there. But maybe they will be, and they'll make me look stupid. NFL draft 1 week tomorrow. Yes. Super excited. Me and my buddies for the NFL draft, like my big home league. Everyone does a lot of fantasy leagues, but you've got your home league. You know, this is your long tenured league with essentially your best friends. We've been going close to probably over 20 years now. And we like to do, some people would probably say it's too early. I would agree with those that would say it is too early. But no, we're not drafting. We're not crazy, but we are doing our draft lottery as we get together for the draft. So that is fun. Find out where I'll be picking in the fantasy league and obviously the draft. I am so, I don't know. I'm like one of many of you out there who drink all the hyperbole as it pertains to NFL draft season. We are in the heart of the storm of rumor mongering draft season. I'm here to pretty much ignore most of that. It is what it is. I don't think we're going to get no surprise to say the trades are probably done until the draft. And speaking of trades at the draft, as I tweeted this morning, and I'll get Ryan's take on this in just a moment when I bring him in, I am very confident the Atlanta Falcons will stay put at number 4. They will stay put at number 4. Arthur Smith is truly one of the great offensively schematic, I mean, that's schematic coaches in the league. Offense, game planners, putting it up on a whiteboard and seeing it executed on the field. And I can imagine he has already drawn up Kyle Pitts with his receivers on the whiteboard and has decided there's nowhere else for the Atlanta Falcons to go. That being said, if you deem a quarterback is worthy of that pick, then you take a quarterback. But here's the thing. There's no developmental quarterbacks anymore, friends. I don't care, even if you're Trey Lance, who's never been in a 2-minute drill. And I like Trey Lance. I love Trey Lance. I was already drinking the Trey Lance Kool-Aid a year ago, being told to keep an eye on this guy. Yeah, as I was hyper, invested in the draft and the quarterback process. And the Chargers were up there drafting a quarterback. Went well. I don't know if you heard. But yeah, there's no developmental quarterbacks. I don't care about you. You go 4th overall. If you go 4th overall, you will play. You will play. You'll probably play this year. You're going to sit on a guy for 2 years, 2.5 years, watch his value kill half of his great rookie contract to then have a shorter window to decide if you got to pay them? No. The Miami Dolphins started Tua, friends, with a winning record, a quarterback that had just played an incredible game, and Tua off an incredible injury. They started him because he was drafted 5th overall, and there's just no waiting anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Atlanta stays put. I will be getting Ryan Noonan from Team FTN in here right now. We can debate, I guess, where in many ways the draft, it'll get really exciting with San Francisco at 3. But the Falcons is where we'll probably have our first quarterback taken, assuming they stay in the pot. So, Tino, you can throw Ryan in here right now as we can begin breaking down next week's NFL draft, also the Zurich Classic. Ryan, someone I probably should have had on sooner, as I could simultaneously talk NFL and golf with Ryan at the same time. But here we are. Here we are. And I'm sure I'll have him on again. But for now, Ryan with me?
Yeah, he's there with you.
I don't know what's wrong. I had this problem last week, but it's clearly me because I'm a moron. Oh yeah, I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use a computer. Ryan, welcome. Thank you for joining me this evening. It is draft season. How fired up are you?
And it is the best, right? It is absolutely. Last year, I think they did a great job considering all that we had going on COVID-wise. First of all, at the top, I'm going to hold you to that because no animosity for not having me on before. You're going to have me on again.
Yeah. No, I was already thinking as I threw that request to you today, and then you hit me back, and then this afternoon I was thinking about the show in my head, and I was like, how on earth did I hold out on Ryan this long to do this?
This is our wheelhouse, man. But yeah, I'm stoked for it. I mean, obviously we're knee deep in golf every week, but for the casual, maybe football fans out there, we're just thirsty for anything football related, and there's so much trickle down effect with the NFL draft, with best ball season, and then just your win totals that are starting to trickle out here now too. It just is the culmination of turning the page for the new season. So I'm stoked.
Yeah, all of it. And there's just still so many veteran free agents who will sign once the teams just determine, what will happen at the draft. I'm going to get right into that with you in a moment, but you did mention golf. It is a long season. It is an exhausting season. There are some Mondays I'm excited to look at a board. There are other Mondays where I'm like, if I really wasn't obligated to put out content, I would probably take a week off. There are a lot of people taking this week off with the Zurich Classic. And I'm not one of them, not because I have to put out content. I don't mind the change of pace one bit. This is a long season. It's exhausting. It goes literally, it never ends. You get a couple weeks off around a holiday. That is about it. So yeah, change it up. Even if they want to make a multi gender event, do LPGAs with the pros. At this point, there's so many goddamn events, not to steal words out of Adam Scott's mouth, but only 11 or 12 of them actually matter, Ryan. So they could do whatever they want with a consortium of them. I am not a hater of the Zurich. I'm excited for the format. How about you?
I think it's probably a better watch. And as just golf fans, we're going to be watching regardless. And obviously we prefer to have some shekels on it. It makes it a lot more fun. It's kind of why we do this. But I don't think it's a great capping week per se. But
hard. Yeah.
Going to be watching it anyway. There's no way at this point that I'm watching it without a little bit of something on it. I'll probably save some bullets for the weekend just because it is, I think, pre-tournament way different, especially when we're getting into some, the analytics that we lean on with the alternate shot stuff. It's just really hard. It's harder to cap. But it's golf, man. I love the new format. I love the chemistry piece. I love the little, layers of going how would you not want to play around with Kokrak and Perez? I want to see them hanging out for 18 holes. I know they do it all the time, but I want to watch it. I want to see that vibe. These guys that are familiar and had success before and play together. So it's the best.
I don't know if you'll be able to get to watch them, but I totally understand where you are going with in that matter. And yeah, of course, we'll put bets on it. And as I joke with Mayo every week, depending on the status of a tournament, I mean, yeah, no doubt you could take the RSM and say, no, I'm a savant at this, and I'll bet harder on the RSM than I will the Masters because I find an edge. No, I'll bet the big events harder because I'm like that. Just like the same way I'll bet the Super Bowl and a national championship and March Madness Thursday. No, they're big events. They're 10-pole events. I'll bet them harder. This is more like Hawaii exposure, I would say. This is like swing season exposure. There's going to be football on Saturday and Sunday, so I don't need too much money on golf. We won't have football this week, but it is that level of exposure for me. So let's get, I guess, right into it. Who are your favorite picks this week, or who have you laid it on to take home the Zurich?
Yeah, I put down a few. I went in with the mindset too of thinking that it's a tougher week to cap, so let's try to lean down the board as much as possible. But then I just have kind of found myself gravitating to some players at the top of the board. I think my deepest play on the board that I feel pretty confident from an outright standpoint is I like the Tringale and Castro duo. Castro obviously is the weakest leg here, but at least he's coming off. I mean, like if you look at his like last 12 events, it is brutal. But the last two have been decent. You know, a couple made cuts, I think an 18 at Corrales. But Tringale has been just like massively improving. He's up like 0.7 strokes per round, pretty much throughout the back too. He's gaining, and not just putting. And it played well here in the past, and you know, obviously kind of fits our Pete Dye course. Like we're getting another Pete Dye, which is nice. But you know, 55s out there for a little bit with them. I think it's dropped in some spots, but you can still get a 55 on DK, which is really nice. I like Cam and Leishman, two guys that I always struggle to cap because like sometimes Cam is a little bit of smoke and mirrors at times. We know he does it like a Reed does, often in and around the green, and sometimes those guys are tougher to cap because they're not great off the tee. They're not consistent with their irons, but I think these guys have a vibe. Obviously, great form coming in for both. I mean, Leash played really well, even though we saw like two of his shots on Sunday at the Masters. He played really well all weekend. So I like them. I think they enter in some nice form.
Yeah, no, that is yeah, I would probably agree of maybe teams near that part of the board. That is the one that I've seen the most people gravitate to. I think I bet them at that Franklin Templeton event like in early December. So yeah, I could see them winning. I did not go down that part of the board. Just out of curiosity, your thoughts on the Horschel Burns pairing, which I guess has become very polarizing as we head into the event. No surprise, they were probably a very attractive bet out of the gates Thursday. They seem to be a little higher than they deserve to be. A lot of easy narrative street dots. You like to mention it's a hard event to cap, but like for narrative street, it's probably like the best event. Match play, like these gimmicky events, you can just create like narratives and everyone can apply to it. But oh, these college teammates, oh, look what they won together. Oh, they've been playing like team events since they were this. Oh, they like go to, you can like look at like Kisner and Brown. Yes, they play well here, but they literally strike you as the type of guys that show up at a course where golfers don't even know they're tour pros and they just like hustle for an afternoon.
Yeah, like, I think like Gim and Justin Sue probably do that too. Like they're just young kids and they can probably they just like golfing together and now they're gonna
do it. They like you see like Kisner purposely shanks one off the tee and then offers the guys a bet. Right. They can't even recognize who like Scott Brown or Kevin Kisner are. So yeah, you know, I bet Hovland and Ventura. What's more narrative street than like that team?
Yeah,
you know, like so all about it. But I guess the team that is more narrative street is this SEC combo. Sam Burns, LSU guy, Billy Horschel, Gator, Chomp Chomp. I'm on the fade. And maybe it's because they just came out hyper popular. So I'm like, you know what? I'll fade this. Home games, that like it's boom or bust. I don't think, you know, there's just as much pressure in a home game. And then I don't know. I don't think it's advantageous to have like getting a stink eye from Billy when you miss like the 8-footers. Like if Leishman misses like a putt, Cam Smith's just gonna giggle. I think, like, you know, I don't know. I think like they're taking it too seriously, especially the way Billy's talking. Like, you know, too seriously is not a good vibe. I want to say for this.
So I have one of my near and dearest friends, actually probably the guy I golf with the most frequently, who I love. I willingly golf with him. He has such a Billy Horschel vibe when we golf. There is just wound tight and competitive. And I love him for it. But occasionally you like to enjoy the round a little bit more.
Yeah. There's nothing worse though than when that guy's not playing well and you are. And it kind of like ruins it for you. Like, okay, you're gonna be golf sad like every shot. Like, let's just play, man. Like, start a new little mini game in your head to like for these next 6 holes. There's nothing worse when you're like playing well. I'm not even talking about scoring well. Ball's just coming off my club. I'm like greenside in 2. It'll take me 4 to get home, but I'm feeling good. And you're just like at every shot complaining, bickering, ruins the day. Golf sad guy ruins the day, and Billy can get golf sad.
It does. You know, all those things are hit way too close to home. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the fade as well. Like I want a little bit of form And, we know Burns like went into API with all sorts of form and, everyone loved him. And then from there, 3 straight cuts, he's been spraying it off the tee a ton. Um, just hasn't really been good. And I know Horschel, like we know that form is fickle. It can turn on a dime. But yeah, I mean, for all those reasons too, you could also say like we've been waiting for this Billy Horschel run to end a little bit too, and it just kind of keeps going. So at that price, like easy fade with the expected ownership on DK, easy fade.
Yeah. Definitely. I give you credit. That Tringali Castro team, it's like I see it's all like if they win, it'll be like there's so many like green lights that pointed to it. I don't know. I just don't have the guts, I guess I would say. I don't have the guts to like bet them to actually win the event, but I think there's a lot of teams in that range, like that 30 to 60 to 1 range that it does feel like a boomer bust event. I feel like I'll sleep on the leaderboard and I'll check it late in the day and I'm gonna see like Steele and Bradley in first place at like 14 under. Like or even that Coke Rack team you mentioned, like they can get unconscious. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any strong opinions. I just kind of made some bets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was saying saving some bullets for the weekend. I think makes a ton of sense too. If you just get a feeling early, like you said, it's more of a narrative-driven week and a feel week than we typically do as far as bets and any write-ups and stuff like that. It's a lot more feel. So I get that. There's a good number on Steele and Bradley on DraftKings. Like it's pretty significant in comparison to some other stuff I've seen.
And they've been playing well, and they do what they do, and that you'll get. Obviously, alternate shot like for any of these guys can go the wrong way quickly, but
I've been a sucker for Keegan. I'm very comfortable sinking money into an endless black hole that I have dumped into.
Yeah, I won't bet him to win, but I like rostering him. They both did very well for me at Honda. I got no. Steele's been incredibly consistent for some time. I guess lastly, because I do just want to get to the draft. That's all I care about right now. I'll get your opinion. A team that I did bet, I do feel they're being maybe like really forgotten. Although that being said, like you can make a case a bunch of these teams are just kind of being overlooked, but I got them at 55 to 1. It's that Peters Lewis team. Obviously, like any team you bet, you're just hoping they catch absolute fire and hold their own in the alternate shot. But Peters has won a team event with a win with Olesen and the World Cup when they used to do that. He was an unconscious little rookie at the Ryder Cup, and it gets really annoying for golf fans when these CBS or NBC broadcasts try to throw names in your face for Ryder Cup consideration, like I don't know, Kisner, nah, like anytime that no, there's like maybe a spot available and those guys aren't in it. But I do believe on the European side, there are wide open spots. I think on the back end, and Peters, I think could be with the way Whistling Straits plays, you could argue his skill set, if he's in form, would be probably more advantageous than a Westwood skill set. Per se, but this is a team I'm high on. Wills, yeah, I don't know. Peters quietly ranking out good finishes as well.
Yes, yeah, he's been driving it really well. We know he can run hot with the putter. When guys perform that in that stage too, like we're always waiting for them to take kind of the next step. Like we saw, to do it at the President's Cup, and then it was like, all right, damn, like he's been on the come for a little bit, and now he did it on the big stage, and we start to expect it. So I think some people have, flop lag a little bit with Peters. Like we've been waiting and waiting. We don't see him here too often. So I get it. I mean, again, down the board and really should be where we're spreading out most of our funds this week.
Yeah, the power teams historically haven't really done well. I know the Cam Smith Blix pairing was a huge number. I'm sure Palmer and Rahm were pretty short. I don't really have a memory on what Horschel and Piercy played, but I bet you it was 50, 60 to 1 off the top of my head. So yeah, mid-range down the board, like most events.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to think. It's all a blur. Oh yeah, Stewart. So we're coming off a big dog last week. Okay. NFL draft. There's so many things I could throw at you, but all that kind of really matters is at this point is the drama at the top.
I thought we were starting to pick 13.
No, well, I'll get you there. I'll get there. I'll get there. I've really like, I don't know how to put this, like biasly or in my own little like bubble in my head, Ryan, to just get to observe everything that's happening this year and the craziness with the 5 quarterbacks. And it's weird how, like, looking back how last year played out. Yeah, the Chargers, Herbert fell to them. They got lucky, but whether it was Miami or the Chargers, they both like just stayed pat. Like they just said, no, we're going to we dare Detroit. We dare the Giants to do something. We dare someone to come up. Not the case this year. It's a party. Rumor mongering everywhere. Every day, the odds are changing on what Kyle Shanahan does. I'm just a believer. I'm dumb enough to believe the guys that claim to be his best friends in the media saying, no, this is who he's going to take. It'd be a real bad look for Chris Sims if it's not Mac Jones. Sims has built himself up a nice little niche spot in the NBC Sports NFL universe. And he is gone to the wall that no, I'm friends with Shanahan. He hasn't told me, but I promise you he's going to take Mac Jones. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, what a dicey friendship if that ends up falling apart there. How do you?
No, I don't. I mean, I would just. How can you can't be mad at your friend? You almost wish you could send you a smoke signal the day of to be you should walk it back a little today, yeah. Chris. Try walking it back today.
That's an interesting thing to watch though, because I feel that would be a tell, and that could happen. The interesting thing there is they don't have anyone to fake out. There's no need for a smoke screen per se. Yeah. We're locked in on Lawrence.
The only smoke screen is if they are fans of the NFL and recognize their place. And that 1 and 2 have now been acknowledged. And this is a goddamn TV show, Ryan.
It's true.
And wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you want to be the center of the show, if you want all those cameras on you, talking, speculating about you all next week, you keep it under wrap. So, and maybe there's a thing from the league. No, we've had 1 and 2 have gotten out there. You guys stop. No. We need to create some drama on the first 3 picks here.
Yeah, they probably don't love that. I think it's bizarre, to be honest. I've said this at length. I'm still shocked that Zach Wilson is such a lock, but it's almost relevant to discuss at this point because
weird. Yeah.
It's
there. Geez, we could do a whole show on that. I'm so nervous for him. I'm a closeted Jets fan, despite my place, and sort of having to pick on them with Pat when we make fun of Tim. But I've always had a soft spot for the Jets. They're in the worst spot here on many levels. I could make a chain, a Venn diagram of how screwed the Jets are. Their old second overall pick is now going to be coached by the guy that probably should have been coaching him in New York. And if he goes on to great success, the Jets fan is going to be killing himself in his head. And Wilson's going to go ahead of 3 quarterbacks in New York. He's going to have as much or more pressure than Trevor Lawrence. That's how insane and unfortunate it is for him and the Jets. So I stand with you, and I don't know, man. That's a sure thing. Good for you, buddy.
Going to New York City after you've been in Provo for 3 years, apparently, homebody obviously hasn't done a lot of hasn't seen a lot of the country. I don't know. I feel that's going to be somewhat of a culture shock versus a guy that was 1A, 1B with Lawrence coming out of high school, goes to a Big Ten school, performs on the biggest stage, and we're knocking him for really doing what he was expected to do. It's bizarre to me. So,
when it goes to Fields, he was just a 1-year starter, right? Or sorry.
No, he had 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And it felt so he almost, and where would he have gone a year ago without this last year? Where was that hype?
I think he probably really helped himself with the performance this season. They were a great squad, and he balled out in that game against Clemson, knocking out Lawrence. I mean, again, it was such a truncated schedule. That's why this year is so hard. There's no, actual indie, training day for everyone. We don't have the combines, and we have these truncated seasons. We got all these dudes going in the top 15 or top 20 that bowed out last year for COVID concerns. So like we're looking at guys that haven't played football in over a year. Like Caleb Farley hasn't played a football game in like 520 days or something ridiculous like that. It's had like multiple back surgeries and he's going to go in the first round. Like it's a very unique year.
Yeah, it's beyond unique on many fronts. So while it is not sold at 2 with Wilson, it like well we're in agreement that it seems strange that it's such a far gone conclusion. Who do you think the 49ers do end up taking?
It's interesting to see the odds move back in Jones's favor today. There seems to be enough there. Like guys like Schrager, guys like Schefter, like they don't shoot and miss a lot. And like you mentioned, Sims has that relationship. They all are on, or at least have led us to believe that Mac Jones is the leader in the clubhouse.
And it's not just shoot and missing like speculation. It's now like speculating on the number 1 pick. You could almost say like Lawrence and Wilson were picked a year ago. Like there's only 1 pick for them to. It's not like they need to guess what's happening before to then make their projection for number 3. So it leads to more confidence that it does play out that way. Moving off that, I'm becoming more confident than ever that Pitts and Atlanta are a marriage. Atlanta does not move. In the end, do you think that they take a trade or select Kyle Pitts? Because it doesn't seem like there's another option. Well, obviously stay there and pick the quarterback, but
yeah, and that's interesting too, right? I mean, obviously we know the value that comes with the position and really what's leaving on the board. Draft equity wise for someone to get up there, knowing that there are quarterbacks on the board, we'll be dealing with at least 2 that we expect to go, in the top 10, top 15, at least, I guess, if you thought Mac Jones falls. But yeah, I think Pitts is the play there if they stay. We feel like we know somewhat of what's happening with Cincinnati and Miami. Like there are 2 guys that are going to go to those 2 spots and they're pretty interchangeable, it feels like. So it's really hard to get a dance partner to trade up when 7 seems viable to make a trade up, and you'll probably be able to still land a quarterback at 7 with Detroit. So it's hard to pay the extra freight to get up to Atlanta. But I think Pitts is the play if they stay. I think it's a great play for them. And I think you can bet it instead of betting Pitts's over under, which is 5.5 on DraftKings, and it's got a little bit of juice on it. You can actually draft the Falcons to take a tight end first at plus 150. So I mean, you're getting like almost 90 cents on that just for taking the place.
I do like that. I'll probably end up making a bet on it. I'm just more and more confident the draft will start there essentially after the 3 quarterbacks. We'll get 3 football players off the board, as you suggested. Then Detroit comes back into play where trades certainly are of the mix. When do you think we finally get that defensive player? Some people don't even think Surtain makes it to the Cowboys at 10. Do you?
I think that's interesting. Yeah, I actually saw a mock today that I respect that had the Chargers trading up to 8 to lock up Patrick Surtain, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That is interesting. If the Chargers are on the move, and I wouldn't discount it, because I do believe that, I think it's time to maybe be a little aggressive. I would think it would be Slater. I thought if you told me they're trading to 8, if I'm watching that draft, I see that logo come up on the clock, I'll pop out of my chair and thinking that they are taking Slater. But I don't know, the way the game's going, Staley, the defensive guy, I could see it. They need a corner or tackle will be one of the Chargers. Well, I assume their first 2 picks of the draft. I would like it to be a tackle. If they stay at 13 and Slater is gone, am I silly to think I want them like trading back to like 18? Because I don't.
It sucks as a fan, as a a Patriots fan. Don't kill me for that. I know we're not very popular out there.
No, I listen. I got no.
I'm a New Englander.
I'm just jealous. Not about popular. I'm just jealous.
Yeah, we had a couple of good battles back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, did we? Did we really?
We had a couple of good ones.
I don't want. Now you're just making me remember things that are like the worst moments of my life. I was at that AFC Championship game. in that upper bowl as LaDainian wore that freaking Darth Vader mask and his trench coat. That was the only playoff game Kading actually made his kicks because we couldn't get in the end zone. And I put a cell phone through a wall in college when Marlon McCree fumbled. That was the worst day ever.
One in San Diego was an underrated all-time Patriot win. They had to go on the road there. That was a good Chargers team.
That was a good team. Yeah. Then you blew the game the next week versus the Colts.
Correct, which is painful. Yeah, that was the.
But you guys, I was so you couldn't come through on your perfect season, and I wanted so badly. I'd have given a testicle, Ryan, to get to play Eli in a Super Bowl. Oh. Like just the story, like just to get that, just to come full circle. It would have. When I say it would have meant the world to me, it would have meant the world. Like everything in this universe, I would give for that 3 hours versus Eli in Glendale, Arizona. But we weren't good enough. Yeah. Oh, damn. Whatever. I hope they can get me back to care. I wonder if I'm hoping that I can now maybe have some more close calls with a team that hopefully can be good. So yes, Surtain to the Chargers. I wouldn't be shocked. It's a need. You play Patrick Mahomes. You say, let's go. Like, let's go. Like, I don't, yeah.
You can get an offensive lineman. You can get an offensive lineman late. That's, I think, why they're going to come out of this much improved is because their two greatest needs are, I think, the two strongest positions.
Yes. But if they trade up, they then lose that second pick and can't do both.
Correct.
They do have an extra pick from a compensatory situation. So they have an extra third. Like, I don't know if I was thinking maybe get from 13 to 11. I don't think that would even be cheap. Nothing's coming cheap anymore anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I think they got to get both. And then it's kind of like the same situation as the Bengals, just less glaring, except for us, it would be corner. For them, it's receiver. It's like, listen, like you've got like an A+ back there. Like you just bite the bullet and say, maybe there might be value at tackle, but we just got like later, but we got it. Like we got to just take the best left tackle. We don't have a left tackle on this roster. At least the Bengals, I don't think it'll help them if they don't draft a tackle, but they sign Riley Reif as a potential option. I don't think that's going to be the starter. The Chargers signed a center and the guard from Pittsburgh. There's not a tackle. There's not a tackle on the roster, Ryan. So I don't even know who's left in free agency. Like Eric Fisher?
Yeah, not a lot in free agency. Again, it is a strong part of this draft. They pick again at 38. Like they need to come.
Is there a starting left tackle in the second round? Like I get there's a good tackle prospect in the second round, but the Chargers don't need a tackle prospect. They need a starting left tackle. So I don't know. That's why people really do, even if Slater is gone, like people seem to think that it would be between Vera Tucker and Darius Shaw. So I guess realistically, how would you rank those two players?
Yeah, I think Darius Shaw seems to be the guy that is, I think he's being mocked there more than anything. If you look over at grinding the mocks, you're seeing, what is it, like 69%, 79% of the time in the last couple weeks with expert mocks, they're landing an offensive tackle. So, you could see something like that on the defensive side, but it looks like they're having Slater there. I don't know that Slater is gonna fall. Darius Shaw pops as the next guy on that list. It depends if they want the versatility. Like Vera Tucker is a guy that they can move around and play at guard as well. You often don't have guards going in the top 15 of the NFL draft. You want this guy to be kind of an anchor, ideally a left tackle, especially if you're taking him with close to top 10 equity. So I get it. Like,
have you seen any rumors? Because the Chargers were linked to this when it started, but it's all kind of quiet down. What are the rumors on the situation out of Baltimore with the tackle demanding the trade? Because that's also been linked to the Chargers heavily when that first dropped, that he was demanding a trade. That was an easy dot for a lot of people to connect, as were the Bengals. But then it seems like, no, they're not trading him to the Bengals. It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to want to do that. Yeah, I think that could be something that goes down on draft day. I think once we get this close to it, it's very infrequent to see a pre-draft trade.
Yeah, no, I guess the Chargers just be like, okay, we'll call you if those 3 guys are gone.
Yeah, very easy to kind of turn the key on them a little bit once you're live and on the clock, and you basically you're it's like buying a new car. Like it's never more valuable than like right before you buy it. So that like, draft pick is like it's undecided. When it becomes a player, it becomes a little different.
Yeah, that is certainly the case. I guess so quickly then, because I'll use this other opportunity. After Surtain, how do you rank those next 2 corners? Because a lot of people have either like super high grades, and I've seen like it's Horn, right? It's Fairley and Horn.
Yep.
I am on the periphery of reading up on them. I've seen some like extreme, like I don't think I've seen as extreme highs and lows for any top 15 player as I have for Horn.
Played a lot of man at Carolina, so but balled out and is playing tough competition in the SEC. But is it more of can he translate to my scheme, fit? You're seeing that more in secondaries, which kind of makes it harder.
Can he translate to having to play the Kansas City Chiefs twice a year? Is that like what we mean?
More so like depending. So I think like the secondary, like corners and safeties more so than any other position seem to be profiling more for like scheme fit type of guys. If you want to run a lot of man coverage, like Staley did with the Rams, having a cover corner that you can kind of leave like a Jalen Ramsey to lock down. That's why I think that corner is in play for them.
It's in play. It's in play.
I think he liked having what he wanted to do defensively. Like he's coming off of having that anchor as a corner, and I think he could really do his thing a little bit more right out of the gate if he has that guy. And if he thinks one of these 2 guys are that guy, that's why I think they're in play to move up to really solidify.
I think moving up, they did that last year to go get Kenneth Murray. It's possible. I don't know. I think they just stay at 13. They're going to take the best player available. I know that's like corny and a cliche. They're lucky the best player probably is a tackle or the corner, but yeah, and then they'll figure it out. I don't know. I'm jealous. I wish I was Miami and had the 2 picks.
I know. Well, again, as Pat's saying, like I'm not used to watching first round picks. Like they are perennial. Like we always tease ourselves, like get all worked up for like who are they going to take this year, and then it just turns into multiple second and third round picks that were all just cornerbacks at Rutgers. And somehow they go.
Yeah, and you waited to the end of the first round to watch that trade come through. Correct. Yeah, not to say you wouldn't be enjoying the draft anyway, but it's always like, yes, I'm watching the draft. Yes, I'm hyper focused on everything that's happening with the whole league, but my mind is always like, no, how can my team benefit? You hate like which player in this draft will you like be crushed to see end up in the AFC East? Like you're like, I don't know if the Patriots are going to take him, but fuck if this. And for me, I remember when the Broncos took Eric Decker out of Minnesota, it wasn't even like I needed him on the Chargers. It was like, I hate the fact that this guy now is going to like, I don't want that one bit. Maybe that's not like a good enough example, but I don't know. Every year, this guy's please just go anywhere in the league. I don't want to play you because I like you.
Yeah, I don't want to like go there and like we already did a little bit of Zach Wilson hate, but
he's too high though. That's all right. Whether it's Wilson or another guy, you've got to deal with smoke. Like
I don't mind Wilson going. I would be really excited for Jamar Chase to not end up in Miami. That would be.
But I would, as a guy that doesn't really like. Well, how do I put this? No, I don't want to do this because I'll ask you about them in a second. Would you rather Pitts or Chase in Miami? You'd probably rather Chase, right?
Probably Chase. Yeah,
I'd rather Chase too because I think. Well, yeah, I go back and forth. Okay, Ryan. Then just going back. How do I put this? Let's say Tua right now, for whatever reason, some rule was violated. The Miami Dolphins broke some rule, and Tua was returned into this draft. Like returned, not property of the Dolphins, but you knew what you knew and you saw what you saw. You saw him not make one ceiling play versus the Raiders, like after he started 7 games.
Yeah.
You're not able to forget that stuff. Where would he go?
Still going top 10.
Yeah, he would still, right? It'd just be a 6 quarterback draft. But now let me ask you this question. If they redrafted last year, right now, who would go higher, Love or Tua?
Oh gosh, it's got to be Tua still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Tua? Listen, I think Miami's in an amazing place. As a fan of a team in the AFC, I just hope that, like, if they hit on Tua, that's like a big problem. Like, if they had Herbert, they're a Super Bowl contender. Maybe I'm biased, but like that's sort of where the roster is. I think once the Watson shit blew up, they did an incredibly smart thing. They took that draft capital, they kicked it down the road, and they gave Tua the opportunity. You know, they got Fuller. They'll give him another year. They're doing everything they need to do. They're going to draft a receiver or the left tackle to help Tua. But if it doesn't work next year, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, the Deshaun Watson situation, likely, probably, hopefully, well, it's sad. It's sad if it's true. It's sad if it's not true. It's just a sad situation. But the Dolphins will have that draft capital to make the move in the veteran quarterback market. The worst thing that can happen to the Dolphins this year, Ryan, is that they succeed in like a Rex Grossman way, where like they win games, but it's like, I don't know, like this guy, and then they like stick with it. I think they're so smart there that they won't even fall for it. Like they owe themselves to give Tua this year, but I don't think they'll fall for anything but seeing it on tape, like a ceiling on tape.
I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, Chris Greer is super sharp. Obviously, I'm a big believer in Brian Flores. I think we were sad to see him leave New England, and yeah, I think they just get it. Like they could kick more equity down the road here today, right? You know, or this week, and stockpile for even more later and into next year. Like I think they're really smart to understand how to leverage compensatory picks like that. Those little things are difference makers. You'd be shocked. I mean, some clubs just don't do it. It's just not part of their MO for some reason, and they seem to get it. And they're going to come out, if they stick home and take all those picks early, you're right, they're going to come out with a tackle, they're going to come out with a receiver, they might come out with a running back in maybe the second round or third round to add to the backfield there with Myles Gaskin, and they'll probably come out with maybe a little bit of defensive help as well. And yeah, they're going to be a problem. It's not hyperbole. I know it's your boy and your bias, but like Herbert was special last year. This is a Super Bowl contender with Justin Herbert on the team.
Yeah, I say it like I'm confident when I say it. I like hearing that it's backed up, like some people like, whoa, settle down. No, that's how good the Dolphins roster is. That's what you saw was missing. I'm not even joking when I talk about that Oakland game, though. They didn't even try to throw the ball downfield. And everyone played Oakland like, no, you just take chances. And then the backup comes in. It's like, no, you literally just take chances. And I can respect, like, sure, rookies will struggle. They'll play really bad games. Like, the overall picture in a game will be ugly. But I always go back to, like, any quarterback that ends up being good. Like, even Josh Allen, which I think is a perfect example in the sense that, okay, there were moments that were like, whoa, this guy's like got a lot to learn. But in the same games, you saw a ceiling play or 2 or 3 that you're like, whoa, like you're like, whoa, like, whoa, like if this thing gets harnessed, there's something real here. I didn't know, like, that's my concern with Tua. I could pick on him all I want. The ceiling plays are not there. Like they're not there, Ryan. And that is a concern. That being said, I despite what people think, I'm a fan of football. I want to see him succeed. Like I think of course I do. I don't know.
He's going to get every chance this year though, because I mean they dealt with a lot of injuries last year too. We know that they're going to set him up this year. He's going to have Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and someone else, maybe a Jamar Chase. Like we're talking about having a loaded, still have big slot Mike Gesicki out there. You know, you have some of those gadget guys.
Great defense, great special teams, get you back on the field, give you good field position. I'm being so hard on the guy because sort of like golf, like, and I even said this in the Postmasters show, like seeing Hideki wins was like kind of a reminder like about quarterbacks. Like not everyone's going to be Rory or Spieth or Morikawa and like win right away. We'll see talent with so many guys, and whether there's just learning curves or like Dustin, you got to just get hit so many times before you come through. And when I was a kid, when we were younger, I'm not even trying to age myself because I'm not even that old. You wouldn't even like, oh, guys like, oh, he's not winning a major before he's 28. Like guys don't even do that. Like Tiger is an exception. There's some super phenoms. And I think it's the same with quarterback. When Chargers drafted, like even like just speaking of Phillip, I don't know, the first like 8 or 9 games weren't great. It was like Gabe managing. It was like plodding along. Like there's a talented team. This guy's just holding them together. You didn't even give concrete opinions until like guys played a full season. And then they're like, okay, they're making that mistake they made last year again. Now we might have a problem. But until you saw that, you didn't really overreact. Russell Wilson wins a Super Bowl quickly as a 3rd round pick. And now everyone who goes in the 3rd round, 2nd round is like, nope, like there's a different time scale. So yeah, I gotta be, I always try to rein myself in on Tua because maybe he's just like gonna develop from a previous generation.
The Raiders game, I get why it's this like albatross out there because it was so telling, not only because literally everyone ripped apart the Raiders. I mean, they were a defensive sieve. They gave it up to everyone. And when they go there in nice conditions and you have somewhat of a healthy roster, he lays a dud. He doesn't just lay a dud.
Not like his first month. He started like he had started
Correct.
enough snaps where you like,
Correct.
no, you could have some command to do what you want right now, man.
So if you want to believe, even for like an inkling of a second, that somehow, some way, the Raiders cooked up some scheme to lock down that offense that day, Fitz comes in, blows the roof off the place, and it was one of the like best moments of the season. So like it was an extra stamp of doubt on anyone who's questioning whether Tua is a thing or not. So like you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're not far removed for seasons where guys actually would just sit. I mean, Mahomes didn't play until that week 17 game in Denver.
But
right?
It's rare. I know it might not be fair. And if Tua had a preseason, I probably like you never talk. He's like, no. Like Mahomes' first preseason game, you saw like ceiling plays. Like sure. He was moving sideways. He flicked his wrist. I still remember I texted my Chief fan. It's like the Chargers were still they were fine at the moment. It was like, I don't know, man. I'm so scared of this guy. And he didn't even play the whole year. So yeah, but again, it's not even. And maybe I'm just biased again because my team didn't win games, but this quarterback played well. You'd rather your rookie quarterback make ceiling plays than win games that are won by the defense.
No one's going back and making that pick the same way that they did.
I feel so dirty. Like I've been so good. I don't want to pick on him, and they're set up to really help him be great. And I'll have to eat all the crow. And the expectations are like so low now. Like he's going to have lower expectations than Zach Wilson next year. Not in terms like the talent around them is a different story, but just in terms of what you believe their ceiling to be. Mac Jones is now higher. You see even like Waddle and Smith. I can respect them trying to help a buddy who's in the draft process, his draft stock. But it does seem like if you read full transcripts, like they went out of their way to like acknowledge, Tua's got nothing on this guy.
Yeah, no, it was wild to see. You want to say, like, do we give him any grace for obviously coming off of a pretty massive injury? Right? There were a lot of, questions coming in, doesn't have a preseason. So, like, he's playing all of those cards now. He has to. Your point, like, that's it. He has to be it because that's the window. Like, you go for it now. You trade back. You make all these trades because you want to have the best leverage to put yourself in position to win on a rookie contract for your quarterback. So like he flips their entire timetable if he doesn't work, and then they have to kick. Yeah, it was great. We had all that equity, but we had the 6th pick in a top heavy quarterback draft and we didn't address the position. Then you're going back to
but I do believe that they're so far along in their program where, like I said, now that we're in this new era, maybe it's a small window, but like of a veteran quarterback shot calling movement, I think we're going to see a lot. Like, I think it's going to hit a tipping point next year. There's no way that Rodgers and Wilson are on their teams in a year.
Yeah,
like both of them. One of them probably, but I would be very confident to say one of those situations pops. Like one of them just boils over. And because they have love, they're not going to give Rodgers away. But I think to avoid, like they're going to try to, like what like the Lions did with Stafford, he's gonna land somewhere like I think he wants to be. And the Miami situation seems perfect.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Ryan, I do a lot of talking. I'm happy you were here with me. This went longer than I thought it would, but golf draft, we're gonna do this again on an event that is bigger than the Zurich, but we'll have less football to talk about. So in a sense, this worked perfectly this time. We'll do something shortly after the draft, I guess, to break it all down. I'm super excited. I know you're so much deeper into the draft process than I am, so much farther down that board. I don't even have to know some of the guys' names. I just eat it all up. Check out Ryan's work. He is over at FTN. He is part of the great team over there. Ryan, thank you so much for this evening. Awesome. That was Ryan Noonan. He is on Team FTN. You get behind that wall, guys. Like I'm in front of it for free, but the good stuff's behind it. Trust me. Ryan, Axis, Skylar on the golf stuff, Drew, and Ryan, and even like Elliot, Chris, getting it done on the draft content, the draft props, all of that. So I really appreciate Ryan joining me this evening. I'm shocked it took me so long to bring Ryan on. I'm disappointed in that in myself. I apologized to him about that on air. FTN Daily is hosting this show, but PrizePicks is the presenter of this show. PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN, 100% instant match bonus up to $100. It's you versus the projection over at PrizePicks. I have a 3-man power play for tomorrow. Tony Finau and Cameron Champ under 66. Hovland and Ventura, they've hooked me an extra half point. Under 67 is the number now at PrizePicks, and Rose and Stenson over 66.5. And I can't wait for Friday. I'll be picking on the Rose and Stenson alternate shot. You play your multi-sport tickets as I will through the weekend. Golf, UFC, power plays will be my jam. You do what you need to do, and I'll be back Friday. Thank you, FTN Daily. Thank you, PrizePicks. I'm out.